KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years. Matson, gold sponsor of the 2018 Micro Games in Yap. The all-new 2018 Kona by Hyundai, available at Cars Plus. IP&E, fueling excellence. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurant, located in Tamuning and Dedido. Always open, always local.
Ahead on Primetime, senators debate a measure to repeat the sales tax increase implemented during the government's financial crisis. Plus, the Guam Election Commission is meeting to discuss the next steps for the upcoming August primary. And new details released after the arrest of a Guam Guard recruiter accused of having sex with a teen girl. Hawfaday and good evening. The 2% general sales tax has been repealed. In a veto-proof vote of 11-4, senators decided Monday to not only dump that new levy, but also hold steady on the rollback of the business privilege tax from 5% to 4%. Nestor Lecanto reports.
Both the BPT rollback and the new sales tax were scheduled for October. With a repeal and rejection of a section that would have extended the BPT increase, there is no additional revenue to offset the Trump tax cuts, which the Calvo administration has been warning would be devastating to the government's operation. But most senators say the administration can do more to cut costs and collect taxes and fees before, quote, burdening the people with a tax increase. Senator Regine Bisco-Lee.
The governor used fear. He said, if we don't support this sales tax, we should resign. In many cases with these working families, they don't have the time to watch our every move. But many of them vote for us, and they just hope and pray that we will do the right thing. Repealing this sales tax is the right thing to do.
Speaker Benjamin Cruz was one of only 4 senators and the lone Democrat voting no on the repeal bill. He says while he understands why his colleagues support a tax repeal, as the chair of the Appropriations Committee, he knows the government will need the money somehow to make up for a possible $160 million shortfall.
So the combination of the 120 on the Trump Tax Act, the loss in Section 30, just from the Trump Tax Act, not including the possibility of the war reparations being taken out, and the difference in war claims is why I said 160. So I understand the objection to the sales tax and burdening the people, but I don't know how else we're supposed to collect money. How are we supposed to raise the revenue?
The governor warns of harsh implications of repealing the sales tax, especially for the hospital and education department. Portions of the proceeds were earmarked as a dedicated funding source for the two. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Voting yes on the repeal were Senators Tom Atta, Frank Uggan Jr., Jim Espaldon, Fernando Esteves, Regine Bisco-Lee, Talina Nelson, Dennis Rodriguez, Joe San Agustin, Therese Terlahi, and Mary Torres. Voting no were Speaker Cruz, Will Castro, Tommy Morrison, and Luis Muña. Governor DeCalvo had this to say prior to the vote.
If they repeal the sales tax and they repeal and go back to 4%, then I guess my administration could be credited for giving out the largest tax decrease in Guam's history since the Reagan era. The legislature seems to forget that before we instituted, and I want to thank Senator San Agustin, before we instituted this 4 to 5% increase in the BPT, and come October 1st, the revocation of the 4% going to a 2% sales tax, well, if you take that away, then you're seeing, again, the largest tax decrease in Guam over 20 years. It's interesting to note, and I'm glad Speaker Cruz has brought out the facts. And if you take away all the rhetoric that happens in an election year, just corporate Guam alone, I think we're looking at, what, $80 million in tax decreases, right? And if you include all income taxes, you go from anywhere from 120 to 160 million was the potential shortfall. But the biggest tax decreases were on corporate Guam. And so I guess Senator Regine Bisco-Lee and Senator San Nicolas and Senator Uggan and Senator Rodriguez can then congratulate Governor Calvo for presiding over the biggest tax decrease in Guam's history. But there will be consequences for this big decrease. And when you lower revenues from the previous fiscal year by 120 to 160 million, that will have a severe impact on the ability of government to provide services, let alone just provide a stable society. So,
the administration following the vote is calling it a dark day for the island. Calvo adding senators running for higher office will own the pain they have inflicted on GMH, DOE, and GovGuam and the economy. A bid to place an ethics committee resolution regarding a complaint against Senator Jim Espeldon onto the session agenda fails. Saipan Representative Edwin Probst filed the complaint last year alleging that Espeldon was the attorney for a business that bid for a multi-million-dollar contract with the Commonwealth Utilities Corporation. But the company had several major conflicts of interest within the CUC. Ethics Chair Fernando Esteves wanted the resolution discussed in open session and says it wasn't anything personal.
And so while it can appear that maybe I have an axe to grind, I really don't. I just have a responsibility. There's a clear difference. And so with this, Mr. Speaker, this is the last thing that I'm able to do within my power as an elected representative to ensure that the person who filed the complaint, regardless of who it is, whether it's somebody affluent or it's somebody off the street, that if they file a complaint within the rules of this body, that they get a resolution to the matter.
Both Ethics Chairman Esteves and Senator Espeldon are not seeking re-election. Now to a story we brought you on Saturday. The Guam Election Commission voted to accept both Speaker B.J. Cruz and Yuka Hechinova's candidacy for public auditor. Commissioners shared concern whether Cruz was even eligible to run for the nonpartisan office since he is currently serving in the 34th Guam legislature as a Democrat. Ultimately, the commission voted 4-3 to accept Cruz's candidacy to run as the public auditor. The GEC also voted to reconsider and accept Deputy Public Auditor Yuka Hechinova's request to permit her candidacy in the race for public auditor. Commissioner Joaquin Perez said she was given bad advice from this government that prevented her from moving forward with filing her candidate packet in time. The GEC confirmed she filed her packet Monday morning. The other candidate running for public auditor is Doreen Crisostomo. The Guam Election Commission is meeting this evening. Carmen Turlahi joins us with the details. Carmen?
Habane Crystal Paco, Decision 2018 is in full swing here at the Guam Election Commission, where they just about finished ratifying all of the candidates. That includes two seemingly controversial candidates, that is Amanda Blas and Michelle Taisono. Questions were raised about their working at the governor's office while campaigning at the same time. Again, what comes next? Just in a few minutes, all of the senatorial candidates, gubernatorial teams, those running for Attorney General and the special election for the OBA are going to be choosing where they sit on the ballot, and a list will be finalized by the end of this meeting. Back to you.
Just days ahead of what's anticipated to be the biggest trial of the year, and prosecution has asked the court for more time. At issue, DNA samples. The government in court late Monday afternoon say they need the DNA found at the scene of the crime to help paint the picture of what unfolded hours leading to the death of DOC detainee Manson Isar. Here's more. The government wants more time to build their case. Specifically, they're asking the court to push back trials so they can get the FBI to analyze DNA samples from the crime scene. As reported, 8 men were charged in connection to the murder of detainee Idrit Manson Isar, while a 9th defendant was charged with digitally penetrating the victim. Jimmy Hadley has since pleaded out and agreed to testify against his co-defendants. Albert Santos II's case was also recently thrown out after prosecutors admitted it was unlikely a murder charge against him would hold up at trial. The remaining 7, Marvin Retcham, Eisler Miller, Benster Benjamin, Elas Cimarron, Vimson Minicio, Jeremiah Ishizaki, and Andrew Rios Santos Jr. are scheduled to go to trial next Monday. According to the government's motion, however, they need the DNA testings to meet their burden of proof and show jurors they properly investigated the case. The court only late last month allowed for prosecution to collect defendant samples to be sent to the FBI. The items to be tested include the victim's clothing and bed linens. According to witnesses, the men charged in this case were seen either on top of the victim or in close proximity. Giving time to conduct FBI testings could, according to prosecution, benefit some defendants. How much time are they asking? The government says they'll keep the court informed and do frequent checks with GPD and the FBI to ensure the process gets moving. This is just one of the many motions under advisement. Both Ishizaki and Rechem have filed motions to dismiss their cases on grounds their speedy trial rights were violated. Ishizaki additionally has filed a motion to have his case severed on grounds he'd be prejudiced facing the same jury as the group because he is charged differently from his co-defendants. The government has also motioned to block defense from delving into the facts of the victim's case. Isar, if you recall, was arrested and charged with raping a girl with autism. Earlier court filings revealed the men charged for his murder had done so as a revenge attack. Parties will return to court on Tuesday afternoon. One by one, each defendant and their attorney will be allowed up to 10 minutes to view the judiciary of Guam's holding cell, where the alleged attack started hours before Isar was found dead in the Hagåtña lockup. A Guam Army National Guard recruiter accused of having sex with a minor multiple times and posting the alleged acts on Snapchat is released from prison. Jerry Thomas Guerrero II is charged with electronic enticement of a child as a first-degree felony, 4 counts of third-degree criminal sexual conduct as a second-degree felony, and 3 counts of possession of child pornography as a second-degree felony. Court documents state the suspect met the 14-year-old girl on the social media site last October. She explicitly told the suspect she was underage. They still agreed to meet up. The alleged sexual acts occurred at least 10 times over the last 6 months at the suspect's home, as well as inside his pickup truck and at the football field. It wasn't until April the victim learned of the recordings. Police obtained a search warrant for both the suspect and the victim's phones. Authorities then finding more than a dozen videos of the pair allegedly having sex, which the suspect sent to the teen via Snapchat. Guerrero was released on a $25,000 PR bond. He is set to return to court on July 20th. It looks like 2 of the 3 women charged with stealing from a youth football team will enter plea deals with the government. Doris Ann De Leon Guerrero, Renee Lynn Cruz, and Shirley Santos were set to face a jury next week, but the court on Monday vacated that trial date. According to De Leon Guerrero's attorney, William Pohl, she will be accepting the government's offer to plead out to a misdemeanor charge. There will be no jail time on the condition she cooperates and testifies against her co-defendants. Cruz's attorney, Terrence Timblin, advised that although his client denies her guilt, she is likely to enter a global plea due to other pending cases before the court. Santos is the only defendant on track for trial. KUAM files show the 3 women allegedly forged checks from the Guam Giants Youth Football Association. A return date is set for September 24th. Stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
A simple handshake. That's all Jake Calvo needed when he started his company. Today, 80 years later, we like to say thank you to all of you who have taken our hand in trust. Thank you to the dreamers. Thank you to the realists. Thank you to the family-oriented. Thank you to the entrepreneurial. Thank you to those climbing the corporate ladder. And to the ones starting a new life together. Thank you to the traditionalists and the edgy. To the young at heart and the old souls. Thank you to the daring, to the protective, to the practical. Thank you to the hopeful. To all of you from all of us, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
As a nurse, I cared for thousands of patients at their time of greatest need. I know how important it is to have our only public hospital accredited. With your help, Josh and I will change our island's approach to healthcare. We will reduce insurance costs, make sure there are enough beds at GMH, better utilize public health centers, and invest in the latest technology. We will get the job done. I'm in to help get us there, and I humbly ask for your vote.
I'm Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message.
We're celebrating our 135th anniversary today, both in the outlying regions on which we hub and also here in Guam itself. It means so much to our team here in Guam. It means a lot to us in the Matson management team, because what it says is we're here to stay. It's a real physical manifestation of our commitment to this region. It's so important that we hire locally, we develop talent locally, we train locally. What's been a wonderful addition to our approach there is that many of the people who started off in Guam have gone off into significant leadership roles elsewhere in the company.
This is our headquarters here in Guam in Micronesia. And when we talk about putting down our roots, it's not just doing business, it's about everything we do with our friends, our customers, and our employees. I believe that nobody can replicate what we do, and that's why we have such a great team and such a great service and why we're successful. This is our home, this is our life, and we're happy to make a difference in everyone else's life.
In this divided world, there are still things that unite us. Great music, thrilling games, and the love for that perfect burger. Ruby Tuesday Guam, for the love of burgers menu. For a limited time, get an amazing burger for just $11.99. Lunchtime at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
More ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
2 new flights are added between Guam and Saipan starting August 2nd. United Airlines says the twice-weekly 126-seater 737 service departs Guam on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11:30 p.m. and arrives in Saipan at 12:15 a.m. the next day. The return flight departs Saipan on Wednesdays and Fridays at 4:55 a.m. and arrives in Guam at 5:40 a.m. United says it means about 500 more weekly seats for the route. The airline launched daily 737 flights to Saipan on June 1st and says there's been strong demand for the new service, which also allows Saipan customers to make same-day connections to Tokyo or Honolulu. Celebrating 74 years of liberation, PBS Guam KGTF Channel 12 will be live broadcasting the parade on July 21st, beginning at 10 a.m. New Acting General Manager Kate Baltazar explains this year's theme, Strengthening the Spirit of Guam.
Of the people of Guam through very many challenges throughout our history. Strengthening our spirit, to me, is drawing upon those strengths from the past and learning the lessons of the past and moving forward. The President
KUAM is also giving you full coverage of the parade. You can view the Liberation festivities live online on KUAM's social media platforms. Whether or not they saw the Disney movie Moana, it was that reference that helped in the rescue of 6 people lost out at sea. Anderson Air Force Base officials report crew members with the 20th Expeditionary Bomb Squadron was on a routine flight on the B-52 just southwest of Guam when they received a call of a lost local vessel. The canoe was first reported missing on June 19th with 6 people on board. It was to make a one-day journey from the atoll. The commander, unsure of what exactly they were searching for, then asked for more details, and the dispatcher responded, "It's just like the boat from Moana." That was apparently enough to help them find the missing crew who had been lost for about 6 days out at sea with minimal provisions. The B-52 crew contacted the Coast Guard, and a nearby civilian ship voluntarily assisted. They didn't want to leave the canoe, but were given food, water, and directions to help get them safely back to land. A tropical disturbance is centered about 325 miles southeast of Guam and has been nearly stationary for most of the day. The National Weather Service says the disturbance will remain stationary through Monday night before tracking northwest nearing Guam on Wednesday. Showers, thunderstorms, and gusty winds are expected to be about be around 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts up to 35 miles per hour in heavier showers. The worst conditions are expected for Guam and Rota. We will keep you posted as soon as more developments from the NWS are released. Sports is next, but first, here's a closer look at your island weather.
Make every day a plus.
Mary and Mark said they'll meet us there at 8 o'clock, okay?
What are you doing, hun?
I gotta be the faster draw tonight. They beat us to the bill last time, and we missed out on the 3% cash back. I got the skills to pay the bills.
This summer, the Bank of Guam Visa credit card gives you 3% cash back on all purchases. It's an offer so good, you'll be competing to pay the bill.
Your check.
The Visa credit card with 3% cash back this June, July, and August. Only at Bank of Guam. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, member FDIC.
KUAM Sports is presented by Triple J.
What's up, Guam? Dave Delgado here for KUAM Sports. Thanks for watching. We start the show off tonight with youth basketball highlights from the Elite Center in Teason. Check it out. Guam Elite Basketball Summer Showcase, Agate and the Island Wolves in the U12 Co-Ed division. Wolves come out with the ball after almost turning it over. Pareto with the deep two, pulling up just inside the three-point line for the shot. Agate's Quintanilla steps in front of the pass and comes up with the steal. She starts making her way down court, shots a little hard and goes off the backboard. Quintanilla gets her own rebound and puts the shot back up for the basket. The Island Wolves stay in their half-court press and force the turnover. Castro pokes the ball away as Chaco tries to bring the ball up. She takes it all the way to the rim for the finish. Seswico takes the shot for Agate after being left open. She pulls up at the free throw line and goes window for the score. Wolves pick up the win 26-16. Toby Babauta with the pass drives baseline and scores. Babauta playing big, attacking the basket in traffic for 2 points. The Guam Basketball Confederation announces tryouts for the U18 Women's Junior National Team. Tryouts will be held July 7th and 8th from 10:30 to 12 in the afternoon on both days at the Guam National Training Center facility in Teason. Tryouts will be for the selection of the traveling team to compete in the FIBA U18 Women's Asian Championship taking place in Bangalore, India from October 28th through November 3rd. In order to be considered, players must be born on Guam or have one parent born on Guam or both grandparents born on Guam and have maintained 4 years of consecutive residency and is a current resident. In addition, players must be born January 1st, 2000 or later. For more information on tryouts, contact Coach Eddie Pelkey at 888-0370 or email eddiepelkey@gmail.com. Guam's Callie Beneventi, who's on summer break from Chaminade University in Hawaii, recently completed a FIBA leadership seminar in Singapore. The workshop was aimed to give the young leaders the tools necessary to run 3-on-3 tournaments as well as develop their leadership skills. Guam Youth Bowler of the Month winner was Evan Duenas. Evan won his first title of the year after defeating Frank Manabusen Jr. 190 plus 11 to 189 plus 18. Manabusen led all bowlers in the qualifier held earlier in the day with an 838 total, including handicap. Duenas was 4th overall in total pins. The next Youth Bowler of the Month will be held on Sunday, August 5th at 11 in the morning at the Central Lanes Bowling Center. All right, if you haven't heard, LeBron James is officially a Laker, signing a 4-year, $153.3 million deal. He'll become the first player in NBA history to lead a postseason in scoring, then switch teams a year later. Kobe tweeting, "Welcome to the family at King James. Hashtag Lakers for life. Hashtag strive for greatness at Jeannie Buss and Magic Johnson and RP. Well done. We'll keep you posted on who else follows LeBron James to the Lakers. That's going to do it for sports. We're back right after this.
We only have 30 seconds to describe the newest specialty flavor in the Signature Crafted Recipes collection by McDonald's, Garlic White Cheddar. It's layered with a slice of smooth, perfectly melty white cheddar cheese, a crunchy medley of tasty crispy garlic